So Leo Messi now is gone from Football Club Barcelona, and apparently La Liga had a plan in order to keep him in the club, but at what price? Welcome back to Blaugrana Planet, welcome back to a new video, and today I will be talking about the reasons why Leo Messi has officially departed from Football Club Barcelona, and believe me, I will cover the whole saga. But before I start, let me give a special thank you to OneFootball for sponsoring this channel. OneFootball is the best football app that you're gonna be able to find, in which you're gonna get the latest stats, the latest facts, basically everything that you need to know about the world of football, all packed in the OneFootball app. So what are you waiting for, guys? Go and download it right now using my link in the description, and if you do use my link, you're gonna be helping to support the Blaugrana Planet. So what are you waiting for, guys? Go and download it right now. Alright guys, having said this, let's get back into the point, because this is a very important point, as I have seen a lot of confusion regarding this topic. So let's cover what Joan Laporta has been going through and what he has received from Josep Maria Bartomeu y Floreta, basically a president who destroyed the club for more than 5 years in a row. During these years, we had suffered a sportive decline to such an extent that we were basically winning nothing and getting humiliated year after year in the Champions League. And to be honest, we were relieved that Leo Messi was still in our club. But the fact is that the sportive degradation was actually creating a very bad vibe in Football Club Barcelona. A vibe that actually completely dismantled the communication between the players and the board of directors, getting to a point where Bartomeu had to hire Abidal as a connection between the two. Even Abidal failed to connect them. And during that time, actually, Josep Maria Bartomeu had the challenge to actually get Football Club Barcelona to become the club with the highest revenues. But at what cost? At what cost? Basically increasing the salaries of the players, because he didn't have other choice. The players just weren't attractive by the sportive project, and they had to increase their salaries in order for them to be happy. And not to mention the signings of Bartomeu, which he was doing, he was improvising the signings, paying incredible amount to those players, incredible wages, which are now getting the club in a bankrupt situation. Players such as Griezmann, Coutinho, these players are earning an incredible amount of money, and not only these two, but there's a bunch of more. Getting to the point where Barcelona actually had the highest salaries of the whole of Europe, basically the whole of the world. That was getting to 276 million euros only with the net salaries. And before the pandemic, this equaled to about 70% of the club's revenues. An incredible amount of money that was being wasted on the players. And if you add up all the amortizations and all the other expenses, this was all adding up to 70% of the revenues of the club. Basically, La Liga, the Spanish Federation, even UEFA told Football Club Barcelona that what they were doing was actually misruling the club and getting to a situation that the club was going to become bankrupt if something happened. And indeed, something happened. The pandemic arrived. With the explosion of COVID, the revenues of Football Club Barcelona and all the clubs around the world fell by 30%. Therefore, now we were in a very deep situation. The management commission, which arrived after the resignation of Bartomeu, managed to defer some of these payments, some of the salaries, but that's only in order for Laporta to get a clear situation as soon as he arrived. But the problem was definitely still there, and in fact, getting worse day by day. Then, around the 7th of March, Joan Laporta was re-elected as the new president of Football Club Barcelona, and at around the same dates, Javier Tebas, president of La Liga, announced the new salary limits for first division and second division teams, and at that limit, salaries of the squads for clubs like Football Club Barcelona were taking a big hit to the revenues of the club. In fact, right now, the new limit was 347 million euros, and in fact, The previous year, because of the pandemic, La Liga didn't actually mean that the clubs had to reduce their salaries and their wage bills to the new limit, because it was a very explicit year and obviously very problematic due to the pandemic. But this new year, they had to fit the new salary limits, yes or yes. And what does this mean? Basically, Football Club Barcelona cannot spend more than 347 million euros, including fixed and variable salaries of the footballers, first and second team, salaries of the technical staff, bonuses of the players, payments to social security, transfer-related fees, and amortizations. And in fact, this last two, the transfer-related fees and amortizations, is something that I want to explain so it's very clear. Transfer-related fees do not account for the actual price the club is paying for the footballer, but all the other transfer-related fees, such as commissions for the agents, training fees, and other stuff. In case of the amortizations, the figure is calculated taking the full price of the player divided in between the years of the contract. In other words, for example, if Antoine Griezmann costed 135 million euros and signed for 5 seasons, the amortizations that the club had to assume each season is 27 million euros for each of the seasons that were written in those contracts. 27 times 5 equals 135 million euros. That is the actual amortization. And every year, Barça has to assume a ton of money from amortizations from very expensive signings, players such as Griezmann, Coutinho's, Pjanic. Actually, Pjanic is a horrible deal. But anyways, basically Barcelona year by year has to spend up to more than 100 million euros only on amortizations. And overall, Barca's wage bill almost reached a staggering 600 million euros. Imagine the challenge of Joan Laporta, reducing from 600 million euros to 347 million euros, which is the new salary limit imposed by La Liga. And before actually taking action, Joan Laporta had to perform another economical audit. This financial audit that Bartomeu made wasn't actually sustainable and wasn't real. Wasn't giving a transparent vision of the club because he was hiding a lot of things. And in fact, this entity that they hired was only accessing a part of the finances, not the full finances of the club. And that was the cheat that Bartomeu made. In fact, this economical audit that Joan Laporta performed on the club took around 2 to 3 months in order to be fully executed. And the results of this audit are terrible, guys. Not 200 million euro loss last year, but 400 million euro. Basically double. This is not what Joan Laporta and company, by company I mean the board of directors, had been planning. Basically all their plans are being ruined. Now you cannot make an agreement with a financial institution to inject money at a fair price, in a fair way, because you have too much of a debt. And if you get even more debt and even more losses, then you actually risk of falling into bankruptcy. So Laporta not only received a weak sporting project, very bad vibes in the squad, but also received an incredible loss. An incredible loss which now him and his board of directors had to be accounted for, because they placed 120 million as endorsement. And this 120 million are gonna be locked up until the end of their mandate. And by the end of their mandate, if there is a loss of the total years that they have been as president of Football Club Barcelona, then this loss would be covered with part of this endorsement, which means that Laporta and company would have to put money from their own pockets in order to cover the loss, which they're already starting 400 million euro negative due to Bartomeu. Regardless of that, Joan Laporta knew it was a big challenge. Maybe not as big of a challenge, but he knew it was a big challenge to become the new Football Club Barcelona president. So he was working relentlessly in order to reduce the wage bill of the club, and he did a lot of things. Getting salary reductions, getting rid of a few players here and there, getting to the point where he reduced the wage bill to around 380 million euros, only 40 million euros shy from the actual limit that, in fact, they are gonna be having to apply. Therefore, things still need to be executed. But obviously, all of these numbers are without Leo Messi, and this is the main factor. Lionel Messi earns a staggering amount of around 50 million euro net. Now they somehow reduced their salary, which is actually not a reduction, but it's deferring the salaries, right? Leo Messi, at principle, wanted a 2-year deal plus maybe one extension. But in order to reduce the salaries, what Laporta offered the player is actually defer the salaries in 5 years. But those 5 years he wouldn't be a Football Club Barcelona player, only 2 or 3 years. Then he would go to the MLS, but he would still be cashing in an incredible amount of money, because this money that he should have been getting in those 2 years or 3 is gonna be spread out in those 5 years. Therefore, it's not a salary reduction, it's a deferment of the salaries. But this is how Leo Messi and the club agreed, right? So they got to the situation where they were both happy, and the club actually was getting help from Leo Messi in order to make him fit into the salary limit of Football Club Barcelona. But it wasn't still fixed, right? Because in order to get Leo Messi, Joan Laporta had to get rid of a few players or get incredible salary reductions from these players. Players such as Griezmann, Coutinho, Pjanic, Umtitis, they were getting an incredible amount of money. Obviously, Piqué, Busquets, Jordi Alba as well. But for example, players like Umtiti, they're not providing anything on the field and they're getting an incredible amount of money. And this doesn't make any sense. But the problem that Laporta faced is that these players that I just mentioned have valid contracts. Valid contracts which are expiring maybe next year or in 2 years, in 3 years. Unlike Leo Messi, whose contract had expired. In other words, basically Leo Messi was on the losing side, and Laporta couldn't actually find an agreement with those players in order to get enough as a salary reduction or departures to fit in Leo Messi. That is the whole question, guys. And then the last step came in. Javier Tebas, president of La Liga, came in to try to save the club. But with a fishy agreement. This agreement was between CVC, a financial institution, investment financial institution, and La Liga for the sale of 10% of the rights of La Liga, which included TV rights of the clubs such as Barcelona, Real Madrid, Atletico de Madrid, and all of this for a fixed amount. A fixed amount that was going for 40 to 50 years. Basically mortgaging the TV rights of those clubs for 40 to 50 years at a fixed price. A fixed price. Imagine those TV rights are increasing year by year. And some of you might say, well, if Leo Messi leaves, then it's gonna decrease. Most probably. But in 10 or 20 years, guys, the amount of money these TV rights are gonna be worth, they're gonna be probably double the amount. But no, we're still gonna be paying a fixed amount. Therefore, Football Club Barcelona, Real Madrid are totally against this agreement. And in fact, the Spanish Football Federation just announced, literally today, as I'm recording this video a few hours ago, that this agreement is completely illegal and they fully disagree with it and will most probably make everything possible in order for it not to go through. Therefore, Javier Tebas now is in a tough situation, and some clubs of La Liga which have spent some of this money that La Liga is promising already. So basically, in conclusion, if we didn't get salary reductions from players like Umtiti, Pjanic, Piqué, Busquets, Jordi Alba, Coutinho, Griezmann, or departures of any of those, and we didn't get the money injection from La Liga, which would have resulted in a push of the salary limit for all of the teams of La Liga, equaling to being able to signing Leo Messi, or almost, because still we would have to get rid of a few players, then if none of these options happened and weren't viable, Leo Messi couldn't sign again his renewal with Football Club Barcelona. This is the whole key of the situation, and I really hope I've explained it in detail, because I think I have. And if you guys have any questions, please make sure to type them in the comments below, and I will be very happy to answer. And of course, let me know your opinions, and your comments are always welcome. The Blaugrana Planet family deserves the best. But by the way, let me tell you one last thing. And for those who blame Laporta, guys, please understand the whole situation. Then you can blame whoever you want, and you have the right to blame whoever you want. Laporta, Tebas, Bartomeu, whoever you want. But think about the situation. And I know Laporta gave sensations that if he won, he would have kept Leo Messi. But he never promised anything. And I know some of you are gonna tell me, oh, you're a Laporta biased, but no, I'm not a Laporta biased for this video, guys, because I stick to the facts. And the facts are speaking for themselves. And also, let me not forget, because if I forget, people are gonna throw many knives at me. The fact that if you mortgage the club for 40, 50 years with La Liga, you obviously cannot get the agreement between Madrid, Juventus to create the Super League, because you would be financially tied and legally tied to La Liga for 40, 50 years. This would disable the creation of the Super League, and this is probably another reason why they have refused this agreement. But believe me, it's not the initial reason, and it's not the principal reason. The principal reason is the financials of the club. The financials of the club would have been completely destroyed in the long term. And that is the whole situation. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you enjoyed, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notifications bell if you want to be notified as soon as I release my next video. And now, and as I always say, Visca el Barça, Visca Catalunya, and see you in the next video.